Hi, this is Amanda from Barocco, and today I'll be demonstrating how to work the knit version of the Greer scarf using Lacy. The first step is going to be to cut a piece of the yarn that's 156 inches long. Then you'll want to lay this piece down on a flat surface like a table or the floor and bring the ends together to meet on top of the first layer. So here I'm bringing in the left end of this piece, and I'm going to lay it just directly on top of the first layer, and then I will bring the second end, the far right side, and I'm going to overlap it on top of my left piece by about 2 inches. And then, to make the edges clean, since this has the cut frayed edge, fold about the first inch of fabric underneath itself on the top layer so that all the ends are enclosed inside the fabric. I'm ready to start attaching the ruffle. So the first step is to insert a needle through all of the layers of the overlap and the layers beneath it. So I'll insert my needle through all those layers, and then I bring in my new yarn and I roll the first inch up on itself. And insert the hook through all of those layers. And then I use my second needle to do sort of like binding off, where I take all of these loops up and over my newest set of loops and off the needle. Now the 2-stitch repeat is always worked into what we refer to as large loops of the yarn. If you look at the yarn's construction, it has wide open areas alternating with dense areas, and the large loops are the big loops at the edge in the more open areas, and there's 2 in each section. So there's 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And they are also here on my center portion. Starting right there, there's a second one, and going on this way. So the first stitch of the 2-stitch repeat is stitch A, and you want to work in a leftward direction and put your needle through the next available large loop on the center portion, which would be this one here. And you want to make sure that you go through all of the layers. In this case there's only 2, but in the overlapping section you might have a few more. Then you use your second needle to perform the same thing we did before, which is similar to a bind off, where you grab the stitches further down on the needle and pull them up over the stitches on the needle and off the tip. So that's stitch A. And then stitch B is worked on the ruffle piece of yarn, and you want to put your needle through the second available large loop. So looking here, I see this is the first available one right there. So I'm going to skip it and go to my second available large loop and insert my needle into that. And then I do the same thing, pulling the stitch up and over and off the tip of the needle. So that's stitch B, and we just continue alternating that until we reach the corner. I'm ready to work stitch A again, so it's going to be on the lower portion. Insert my needle through the next available set of large loops. Pull the needle through, pull the stitch up and over, work another stitch B. I'm going to skip the first available large loop and go into the second, right there. So just continue repeating this. When you reach a dense area here on the lower portion, skip over that and just go to the next available set of large loops, which would be right here. And continue on until you reach the corner. So I've been working my repeats of stitch A and B, and I'm getting to the point where I'm going to hit the corner of the center portion, the spot where the layers are folded. And I just finished a stitch B, and now I have one more stitch A. I have one more set of large loops on this lower portion, so I can work my final stitch A, and then a final stitch B, and it will be officially at the corner. So now that I've reached it, what I need to do is work stitches A and B, continue to work them along this short end of the scarf. And since there aren't any real large loops because of the piece of yarn that we're going through, I'm going to pretend that they're large loops and work my stitch A's almost as normal. And I'm going to work 5 of them across this point until I reach the end. So I'll do 5 repeats of stitch A and B. So here I'm going to insert my hook through both layers right here at the corner and treat it like it's a set of large loops. And here I can still do my regular stitch B on the attached ruffle part because nothing has changed there. Okay, so I just finished working 5 repeats of stitches A and B up along this short edge of the center portion. And now I'm ready to work along the other long side until I get to the opposite corners. So continue repeating stitches A and B until you reach the second corner. And do the second corner just as we did for the first corner, working the 5 sets of stitches A and B across the short edge. And then continue working along the top portion until, so you'll be coming along this way, until you reach the point where you've run out of loop A's. And so now I'm going to work my very last stitch A on the loops that are the very last ones left. And now on the yarn that is part of the attached ruffle, you want to cut it so you have like about an inch or an inch and a half of extra yarn, and then roll it up and insert the needle, let's see, I'll roll it a little bit more, insert the needle through all of those layers. And it looks a little bit messy, but that way it will prevent it from looking messy on the outside. And then I pull my last loops up and over, and this is my final loop now. And you want to take some matching sewing thread and secure it so that it won't unravel, and then you'll be done.